Okay, we've got a lot to talk about with UFOs, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, to start with, the mystery drone phenomenon is still going on, and it's still worldwide. At least it is in Germany. In January, drones were spotted over an airface base in Schleswig-Holstein. These were highly specialized. According to a report, the Ministry of Defense is investigating on suspicion of espionage. An Air Force base near Husum in Schleswig-Holstein has become the target of an alleged espionage attempt with drones. The news agency says a majority of drone sightings were in January. Previously, the Süddeutsche, I'm not going to get that German word, had reported on it. From January 9th to 29th, there were 6 security incidents with professional drones of unknown origin at the base. According to a spokeswoman, the further investigations have been handed over to the state criminal police. Now, this is the interesting thing. The drones could not be repelled. According to the SZ, particularly professional drones were apparently used in the alleged espionage attempt. The sighted multi-wing aircraft hovered on the spot for minutes with their position lights on. But attempts were made in vain to divert the drones from their course or to force them to land using jammers and other equipment. Due to the ineffectiveness of the defense measures, it can be assumed that these are not commercially available but specialized drones. In none of the 6 cases, could the drone operator be located. So, yeah, we got mystery drones in Germany over a German military facility. They cannot be brought down, and there were no apparent operators of these drones, at least none that could be found. So, we're dealing with mystery drones here over a facility in Germany. So, this is not just in the U.S. This is all over, and they seem to really like military facilities. Infrastructure in general, but it's unclear if they're really targeting these because they also seem to be just kind of everywhere. But I imagine they are targeting these just like UFOs have historically done. However, it's worth noting that, there are more cameras there. There's more surveillance equipment there. So they're going to catch this stuff where it might just be everywhere and we don't have the cameras to detect it. But it's likely that it is targeting these facilities and infrastructure in general. Meanwhile, the Suffolk and Norfolk constabularies, says Christopher Sharp, are refusing to release information they have regarding the Lakenheath drone incursions. Why? It forms part of a wider ongoing investigation, and it is a matter relating to defense and national security. And here it is. Here's the statement. Unknown drone incidents that have occurred near RAF Lakenheath, Middenhall and RAF Feltwell between November 20th and 22nd, 2024. All the information requested has not been disclosed as it forms part of a wider ongoing investigation and is therefore exempt from disclosure at this moment in time. Well, I know when my UFO group locally tried to investigate the cattle mutilations in our area, the FBI descended on the scene and shut everything up. They shut all the ranchers up. It had been publicly reported that there were 6 or 7 mutilations. Well, in our investigations, we discovered there were over 40 mutilations not being reported by the press. The ranchers weren't talking about it after the FBI came. There was just a crackdown on it, and they claimed this was because of ongoing investigations. Well, it's been a couple of years, guys. Where's the results of those investigations? So when they say these ongoing investigations, and that's the the reason for their secrecy, I'm not buying it. Meanwhile, AARO is trying to debunk the Go Fast case, or at least that's their official proclamation, is that Go Fast has been debunked. The video from 2015 has been determined that it shows the object did not move against the wind in any simulation, giving away to the analysis that the object did not move at anomalous speeds or demonstrate anomalous characteristics. So it's a balloon, guys. It's a balloon moving with the wind. That's what AARO is now saying. So yeah, for people that are excited about Kozlowski and think that maybe AARO is going to move in a new direction, I don't think they're going to move in a new direction. Really don't. I would love to be proven wrong on that, though. It's weird that Jake Barber and his team, Skywatcher, are going to be working with AARO. I mean, why bother? Why bother? I mean, if you get Kozlowski in front of a UFO that you have summoned, is he going to admit it? It's going to be a weather balloon, guys. But who knows? Who knows? But as Think Tank says, they want us to believe that Navy pilots flying F-18s mistakenly identified both a balloon and a commercial jet within minutes of each other. And Think Tank notes that because the gimbal and the Go Fast videos were recorded just minutes apart. So yeah, those pilots are just really terrible at identifying stuff in the sky, right? I think they're better at it than AARO is. Meanwhile, NASA refused to implement any recommendations from its UAP research team, says Disclosure Party, after deciding not to continue investigating UAPs or adopt any of the team's suggestions. NASA reassigned the person in charge of their UAP team and disbanded the unit. Thanks, NASA. So, yeah, NASA is also probably not going to be much help. Speaking of NASA, John Greenwald says, despite what seemed to be a hopeful show of enthusiasm and interest from NASA after their UAP independent study group and the subsequent appointment of Dr. Mark McInerney, I said that right, as UAP Director of Research, he quietly moved on from his position in September 2024, and the position has laid vacant ever since. So they're not even assigning anybody new to continue this investigation. Again, I don't expect any help from NASA. They've been part of the cover-up for God knows how long, which is so frustrating. We don't know how deep they are into all of this stuff, into the control group stuff. But, for example, if they had access to UFO technology, some of this reverse engineered or gifted technology that can take people off world very easily, and they've been wasting everybody's time and getting people killed with rockets. What a waste. What a waste. But hey, I guess you could say at least we did that ourselves. We didn't have to be given that technology. So anyway, I'm not expecting any help from NASA, and it doesn't look like they're even paying lip service anymore at the moment to giving us any more help on disclosure. Meanwhile, this is a really interesting exchange between Matt Ford and Chris Sharp talking about Sandcorp. Getting back to AARO for a minute, it looks like AARO was paying a substantial portion of their budget. Matt Ford gives the figure $28 million to this company to provide influence and perception management. Yeah, that's what this company was doing for AARO. Why was so much of their budget going toward this company? Managing our perception either of the phenomenon or of AARO. Does that have anything to do, for example, with their debunk of the Go Fast video? Meanwhile, Jeremy Corbell talks about how Commander David Fravor was given bogus information about how the Tic Tac was actually a Lockheed Martin vehicle.
They have what they call passage material. It's material that is leaked to people. But the thing is that this material is being passed around to people like even Commander Fravor, where they're trying to kind of convince him that Lockheed Martin, as an example, had some sort of similar technology to what he saw. First of all, he laughed. He's like, if people knew my job right now, they would know that I know that is not true.
Yeah, that's really intriguing. I wonder what Commander David Fravor is doing that he knows what Lockheed Martin has and their secret sensitive technology. I mean, the evidence is pretty clear that they have their own UFOs or ARVs, whatever we're calling them. But he doesn't seem to think they have specifically Tic Tacs. I wonder if he would ever be able to speak to some of that other stuff if he has some involvement with Lockheed Martin. Either way, it doesn't seem like he was persuaded by this disinformation that the Tic Tac was Lockheed Martin technology. But it's not all doom and gloom. Richard Dolan has finished his book about USOs. I'm really excited about this. Richard Dolan says that his research into USOs has fundamentally altered how he perceives the UFO phenomenon. So I'm really excited for this book. Can't wait for it to come out. Meanwhile, Tulsi Gabbard has been confirmed as the new Director of National Intelligence. Will that get us anywhere further along the path of disclosure? Will she, receive the same, obstacles that previous directors have, assuming they weren't just playing along with it? Well, Lou Elizondo is more optimistic about that.
They're going to treat her like a mushroom, feed her shit, keep her in the dark, because the same people that tried to destroy her are now supposed to report to her, and they're the ones, their whole job is to be covert and intel, where she's not on the ground with them. She doesn't know what they're doing.
A lot of those people are being removed. I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news lately, but this administration is canning the hell out of a lot of people that were trying to sequester the truth in all sorts of different topics, right? If you know a little bit about, again, if you were to I think actually meet Tulsi, the one thing that you realize is that she's fearless. She does not care about breaking China.
Okay, sounds good. I like breaking china. I like breaking furniture. Lou said some furniture was going to be broken in 2024. Well, it took a little while, but we finally did get some furniture broken. And now we're getting even more furniture breaking. We got Jake Barber, guys, and who knows what's going to come out of all of that. Also, Lou is dropping some interesting hints.
Ask if Lou is aware or can elaborate on what haystack may be.
Wow.
It was spotted on Tom DeLonge's guitar next to Interloper.
Wow. I can't discuss haystack right now.
Okay. Because you were given permission to talk about Interloper, and was haystack on that level a big operation, potentially
bigger? But it was far more. It was very, very significant. Unfortunately I cannot talk about that right now because there are other equities involved. But I suspect at some point, that will come out publicly.
Now, I don't have any information about Interloper beyond what I can find online. I can't find any quotes from Lou talking about it, but it was an old program from the Air Force looking into UFOs. If you guys have seen any of that, if there's something juicy there, let me know in the comments below. Either way, very curious what this haystack is. And there's other reasons to be optimistic. Ross Coulthart is still bullish on the Trump presidency providing some form of UFO disclosure.
I'm now aware that the Senate Intelligence Committee is taking Mr. Barber and other people's allegations extremely seriously indeed, as is, by the way, the new Trump administration.
Right.
It's now public that, I spoke to Donald Trump Jr. for a podcast before my story went to air. And the impression that I've garnered from speaking to people in the Trump administration at a fairly high level is that they are very engaged with this issue. And just to come back to your question about what the private aerospace company that was working with Mr. Barber and the intelligence agency that was working with Mr. Barber, what are they going to do about this? Well, they'd better watch themselves, because there's a hell of a lot more evidence that hasn't been publicly revealed. And it's not being hidden for any nefarious reasons. It's basically it's to measure and see what the people of potential ill intent might do. And so it's going to be very, very interesting, because I think, as you say, we're at a tipping point at the moment. We're at a point where there is a huge opportunity here if somebody shows the political courage.
Well, hopefully that's happening right now with Anna Polina Luna and her theoretically bipartisan group declassifying files, including UFO files. And it looks like they do have the backing of the executive branch, as well as the chairman of the oversight committee, who will give them subpoena power, at least on a case-by-case basis. He has that power, and he will grant that to them on a case-by-case basis. So we'll see where all of this goes, but it definitely exciting times. Meanwhile, Deep Prasad is giving us some vague hints about some exciting stuff that might come down the pike at some point. Deep Prasad, who I talk a lot about, I think his UFO case is really fascinating. His contact experience, his download. He, of course, is a quantum computer guru kind of guy. And this is what he has to say. It's not much, but it's interesting. The next move I'm executing with passionate friends should accelerate disclosure by a year or so. Now, I don't know what his timeline on disclosure is. Is that a 7-year plan? What exactly does he mean by, accelerate disclosure? Does he know when it's going to happen and he's going to push it up? Or is he just talking, generally speaking, this should speed things along? Either way, very exciting, and I can't wait to see what he has up his sleeve. Okay, but I want to see some UFOs. Let's check this out. This is an orb captured in Stockholm, Sweden, says Wixie. Let's check it out. Yeah, like you can see it kind of almost has a structure to it. Very interesting. I don't think this is a light approaching the camera that will, gradually resolve into a different shape. I think we're looking at a structured object of some sort. Some, people want to call these plasma balls or plasmoids, whatever orbs are. Very interesting. I think that's a good capture of an anomalous object. But what exactly are UFOs, or at least some of them? Sometimes I'll talk on the channel about the other dimensional aspect of UFOs. Well, James Hodgkins, who is one of the psionic assets of Skywatcher, and who I hope to have on the show at some point in the near future, reveals that some of these craft are coming from other dimensions. He even references the afterlife. This is wild stuff, guys.
You heard Jake, and I think it was in the Jesse Michaels interview, talks about 8 different class of craft that they have encountered. The eggs and the orbs are 2 particularly interesting ones in that as I understand it, the eggs are typically not piloted. So there's not a biologic within those. And my interactions with them has led me to believe that this is likely some type of manifestation, as you were asking about earlier. One of my areas that I, kind of pride myself on is NHI communication. And some of the messages that I've received about what these craft actually are is more extra dimensional, if you will. Actually, the message that was used is I was told that you can best understand us as coming from what you would call the afterlife.
They're coming from the afterlife, guys. And this is something that I've talked a lot on the channel, talked about a lot on the channel, is that a lot of these objects and beings, these vehicles, do seem to come from other dimensions. In near-death experiences, people will see these beings on the other side. They'll see the dead aboard UFOs. Now, some of those could be screen memories, absolutely. But there does seem to be a big crossover between the other dimensional and the alien. Nearly 1/3 of all alien abductees are near-death experiencers. My own Jesus UFO shows a crossover. There's, I used to say that there's a straight line from UFOs to the metaphysical. But really, it's the same line, at least in many cases. I'm sure there are nuts and bolts objects from this reality, aliens from other worlds that come to this world and the way that we think about it. But a lot of it, maybe the majority of it, is something else entirely. And I think this is fascinating. Kudos to Post Disclosure World UFO Jesus for getting this great interview with this exciting psionic asset, this individual, James Hodgkins, who, again, I'm hoping to have on the channel in the near future, because I think this information is just really amazing and important. Meanwhile, while we're talking about interesting, weird things, this was a podcast that Digby did where an interesting anomalous phenomenon happened on camera during the podcast. Let's check it out.
So it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. I'm asleep, wake up in the middle of the night. So it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. I'm asleep, wake. So it was about 5 or 6 weeks ago. I'm asleep, wake up in the middle of the night.
What the heck is this thing, guys? You think that's a camera artifact? Is that lint? Or is that something more anomalous? I used to do ghost hunting, and we would catch weird stuff like that sometimes. And that is a thing that can happen. These weird, anomalous things, sometimes they will come and go from a person. Really, really wild stuff. And I think that's probably what we're looking at here. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Last but not least, did you know bats could swim? Bats can swim, guys. Bats can swim. I'm never going in the water again. Let me know what you guys think about it all in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and of course the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. There's Facebook and Twitter links below. Love to see you guys there. If you want to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. Become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and they often get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there's plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.